Williams County Park Board, calling the meeting to order. February 15th, 2022. Beth, would you please call roll?
Barry,
Here.
Steve,
Here.
Corey,
Here.
David,
Here.
Brad,
Here.
We have a quorum. We will proceed. Okay, first up, we have approval of the minutes from January 18th meeting. Do we have anybody who wishes to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
Any discussion? What? Roll call?
Barry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Shanda,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Okay. Jeremy, next up, we have the financial update. What have you got for us?
Is this a push button one? All right. Just real quick, financial update. I included in your packet with that picture of that auger. A couple things that I'd just like to keep you updated on are the cash in fund in Blacktail is just about 40,000. The general parks account is at 466,000, and so total is just over 500,000. I also kind of threw in there, I'd like to keep you updated on where we're sitting in oil royalties. I got a couple different charts there. One that showed you month by month going back to July, and just shown we've kind of showed a little increase there. And then another chart that just shows what the monthly average for the last few years has been. And you can see, 2019 was about 12,000, and then the last 2 months have been, more about 6,500 in that range. But we're on an uphill swing now. The last 2 months have been, or the last 3 months have been closer to $10,000, which is getting us closer back to those 2019 numbers. That's all I have for financial report. If there's anyone else who has any questions.
No questions? Okay. Moving on, new business, road maintenance for Blacktail Fishing Derby and spring purchasing.
Yeah, I'll be talking about the road maintenance agreement, really. Okay, so as you recall, at the last park board meeting, the park board decided that they wanted to basically contract or hire County Highway to take care of the Blacktail Dam Road, which is kind of the outer loop road. Well, this morning at the Board of County Commissioners meeting, they agreed to do that, and we're going to be billing the park board separately on that. All right, so you should have in your packets a copy of the road maintenance agreement, but one of the issues that has come up is that in the copy that I think you have in paragraph 4B, it talks about the park board being responsible for paying for the maintenance and everything like that, but it also includes dust control in there. And in having discussions with Dennis and also with Blacktail Township, there's a real question that we should really have that in there about addressing dust control, really, because the concern is that if we put that in there, that possibly Dennis or Jeremy might be getting calls on a regular basis from people out there wanting dust control. So, I'm not quite sure if, the park board is going to be responsible. First of all, the park board is the one that makes the decision of whether or not to put dust control on there or not, really, unless you want to give that to Dennis, that authority to Dennis. But no, he doesn't want it. Okay, so no, okay. So I guess I just want to know first your thoughts about.
Well, you've taken care of the 10,000 if you even talk about dust control, because that's not enough money. So I think you need to take it out or change that to a lot bigger number for everybody, because you can't do it for that amount.
Okay,
Well,
all right.
And then another thing too is, that we all know what that dust control does to aluminum. And I'll guarantee you they won't like the results from that stuff. It's highly, highly corrosive.
Okay, so am I getting from the park board, you don't want to do any dust control or be responsible for any dust control, or
I think it's pretty clear we can't.
We cannot do dust control for the amount of money we have
Okay.
budgeted in there. At
Okay.
2,500 apiece, there's no way.
Okay, all right, okay. So if I take this back to the township and saying, we're not doing dust control for that amount of money, for the $10,000, if you're willing to up the money you contribute, we might consider that. So and I'm just telling you that if I don't have the dust control in there, I don't know what the township.
What's the loop, Dennis? Is it 3 miles? 2.5?
3.6.
3.6? Okay, so figure $30,000 if you want to spray it one time. You can be real close. That's without the blading.
Okay, okay.
I think one idea too, one part of this too is I'm not sure there's anyone that's convinced on whether it should be done or not, and a lot of people have their own agendas, whether they think it should or not, and that includes residents, campers, everyone. So I don't think there's a strong that we need to do this. I think there's people that say that, but also people that say we don't want it done, as Barry mentioned.
Yeah, it's around the golf course, it's nice. And there's a few homes that are homes/cabins that are close to the road. Those were spot dust controlled last year. And I think the golf course between the two sides of the road there, the golf course lays, and I think that was covered somewhat, but that was about it. I want to say there was probably only about 3/4 of a mile dust controlled last year.
Well, there was a lot of that was done because we were doing road maintenance and we had to do some rerouting of traffic. Is how that got done.
Once they got a taste of it, they liked it.
Correct. Yes, we did it just because we had forced the traffic for couple
Right.
weeks through that direction. We had forced them there, so we put some heavy water, I want to say, heavier water.
All right, I guess if I just get a motion from the park board saying we're not doing dust control for the 10,000, or the park board's not doing dust control for the 10,000. I think that will be enough for me to go on and sort of continue to work on getting an agreement in place, really.
So you need a motion that we don't do the dust control?
Yeah, because, I'm going to want to be able to go back to the township saying the park board decided, though, they're not doing dust control for 10,000.
Well,
For the 10,000.
I'd make that motion,
Yep.
yes.
Second.
What is, it's in, they don't, does it say dust control in B, 4B? Or did I get one without it?
Can't really hear what you're saying, Brad.
Did it say, does it say that there's dust control? On 4B, you stated that there's dust control stated.
It's the last line in 4B.
It's not on mine, I guess it's just not on mine. Because I've got park board responsible for the contributions of Locktite Township.
Brad? First packet
Yeah.
that I sent you, it's in there, and then the second one was the updated agreement that I got from Karen.
Just, yeah, so, yeah.
So your original packets have
Yeah.
the
Yes,
old
my sheet.
agreement in it, the original packets. So you'll see in 4B that it does have dust control.
Okay, I've got 2 sets of those. Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion about the dust control? Roll call vote?
Steve?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Shanda?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Motion carried. New business.
Or just as a FYI, we don't need to approve or anything like the road maintenance agreement, because I'm going to have to kind of work on it still some more with the township and everybody else. So, thank you.
Jeremy, do you have an update on the fishing derby?
Yep, we're hosting our fishing derby this weekend. It's gonna be at Coda Ray Dam. We've gotten multiple businesses throughout the community that are donating prizes. The goal is to give away a prize to every kid that participates. Not a huge prize, you know, lures and different things that go along with fishing, but also tackle boxes and some poles and other stuff. We're gonna get a few bigger prizes, and again, nothing huge, maybe in that $30 to $40 range, you know, some more poles or something else that we'll have as drawing prizes. Every kid that participates, every kid that registers will just be entered into a drawing, and we'll have a couple other prizes to give away for them. Then also, we also have a couple businesses that have agreed to pay for a meal, something simple. We're gonna do hot dogs and chips and like I said, something easy. And then we have the guys, or a group of guys from the Williston United Sportsmen. A group of them are bringing their kids out, and they've also agreed to kind of just kind of be. They're pretty into it, and they're going to be hands-on with keeping an eye on making sure that you know, we have bait. If there's anybody that doesn't know how to hook a bait or do little things like that, just to kind of be around. And help out. I'm excited about it. Weather should be decent. Got a little bit of wind, but could be in the 40s. It should be in the 40s the time of event, but a little bit of wind. So hopefully we have a good turning. I've been on the radio already for Williston. Going to be on the radio in Tioga later this week. So hopefully get the word out. Oh, I guess one thing I did have. I'm requesting that I'd like to spend up to $500 just in case I need to fill in the cracks with some of the things. I'd like to have a few extra prizes that if we don't use, like I said, if all of a sudden I get a lot of kids, maybe I could potentially even return. I don't want to end up being short on some things.
Motion to approve the 500?
So moved.
We have to take a vote on that. Roll call for the motion to approve 500?
Corey,
Yes.
Shanda,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Next up, new business, spring purchasing or pricing?
I got a list of projects. I know obviously Candace is gonna come through and we're gonna revisit some of the stuff that she, all of the things that we're working on there. I'm excited about that, and I know we wanna kinda get going on that. But at the same time, those are big picture projects. And I think there's some things we can do along the way to kinda smaller things to make an improvement, but also fit into that plan. Also a couple recreation things. So I don't know if you want me to just kind of run through them all quick, or how you want to go. Just stop me anytime. First thing is kind of a no-brainer, more of a maintenance issue. Both of the fishing piers at Blacktail were blown away in a storm. One of them we were not able to get back in the water last year, so we just pulled out, and it's been sitting out. I've got some pricing. It's $18.50 approximately. Game and Fish said they'd cost share that. Obviously, we have to wait for weather to go. The next thing I have on there is inflatable movie screen, and this is more of an idea of get the board what they want to do. Just looking at ways to provide more things at our parks. I personally really love drive-ins, and we don't have one anymore. And I would love to build a drive-in theater, but I don't know if we're going to do that. So this is the closest thing I can do. I'd like to do something where maybe even as much as once a week, pick a park and have a movie on a Friday night or a Saturday night or something. I think it'd be another activity to provide at our parks. So I don't know. We already have a PA system that would work. Because it's not, I don't plan on having movies for hundreds and hundreds, but movies for whoever's there. Moving on, the next one is a kayak dock. I actually got a lot of people questioning me, wanting these things. The big thing is being able to get in and get out of them, especially for senior citizens. You know, if you go up on a beach, it's not so bad, but it's not easy because now you got to kind of shimmy your way out. These things you're able to step in, you have a handle. Like I said, I've gotten, you know, more than a handful of requests for them over the past year. I'd like to maybe buy one and try it out and then see where we go from there. I think they're pretty neat. I think they'd get used. The next item is the vault toilet McGregor. You guys have already approved moving forward with that through the grant process last year with Garrison Diversion. Garrison Diversion has approved us. I believe they've approved to cost share $17,500 of putting in that restroom. Like I said, I've been getting pricing. People don't want to travel very far and deliver these. I've got a place out of Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, and I've got another place in Minnesota. But I've also had 3 or 4 places that I didn't feel were very far away that just said, no, we're too busy. We're not shipping it that far. They just, no, we're too busy. Another company that says we only do bathrooms with water. We're too busy to do anything else. So, but I do have 2. Both of them came delivered for under $50,000. We would still have to pay to get them installed. Hire a company to do the dirt work, put in the septic. Moving on, swings and play features. I actually have 8 swings there. 6 of them are standard swings pictured there with 2 things. I'd actually use 3 of them exactly like that, and then 3 of them to have bucket seats for the little kids, the little guys. One of the things I've noticed, I've heard actually Lindsay has said it to me multiple times, is that all of our swing sets have 1 of each, which means that if Lindsay goes with another mom who's a friend, they can't put both their kids in the swing and stand and talk. And at the same time, if 2 kids who are 8 years old go out, they can't each swing together. So something that makes sense. And we just don't have enough swings. I think swings are the best things at campgrounds as far as playground equipment, and honestly, really a lot more cost effective than a lot of the other things. And it's something that me and my staff can install pretty easily. All these swings are 5-inch posts, big, sturdy. They'll last a long time. And then to go on with those swings, I just have some benches. The majority of benches would be placed around the swings that I talk about. Oh yeah, 2 tire swings as well. The same structures, everything's the same as far as the posts and everything. And then I've got 16 benches. The majority of them would go around swings. But I would like to put some other ones in as more like maybe some destination areas on trails, and maybe like a spot to put, a good sunset, and just have a bench where it looks out on a good sunset or nice views, and kind of encourage people to walk to places that they normally wouldn't, cut a trail out and just walk over and sit on a bench. And all of these I would do, with our plans that Candace is working on, so we're not repeating and doing things differently. Just start to work on those things with some little stuff. Moving on, we've done, one of the things is a border for a beach. We've actually done a lot of work. I've talked about it quite a few times about the shoreline at Coda Ray, and we've actually been working on building a beach there. I talked last year a little bit about it and talked about railroad ties, and I had a couple people suggest, hey, we should look into buying these. I think they could be used at this beach, but also used for other purposes if they're handy. And then moving on to item 9 there, concrete picnic tables. That goes along with finishing up the expansion project at Little Egypt. Again, that's was part of a Garrison grant. So once we get those concrete picnic tables purchased, we can apply to get our money back from Garrison for that project. Yes, Commissioner Kemp?
I'm just questioning, you say you want 12 of them and they're $1,200 each. I don't.
Oh, that's not the right math.
Yeah.
That's not the right math.
Sorry.
That's my fault, because originally, that's my fault. Originally, I put down 8 because I needed 8 for Little Egypt, but then I added 4, and that's why the 9,600 is there. I'm sorry about my math, but.
No, I just was curious if there was a story behind that.
Yep, nope, and actually concrete's gone up a bunch. When I bought some a couple years ago, when I first started, they were about $1,000 a piece, and when Corey bought them a couple years before me, they were actually $700 a piece. So in the last 4 years, they've gone up almost $500. But they're nice, they're sturdy, they last a long time. People don't really mess with them. And then also, and so those are things that projects that I'd like to do, and I don't know as far as which ones you just say, yeah, that's, you know, like, that's not that much money, go do it, or you want to approve, or if for, say, if that house is, you know, for the bathroom, it's $50,000, I understand if you want me to come back and say this is the final one, or if that's within, you know, that's up to you. The other things I have is some things I'm looking at pricing. Fencing, I got a couple companies coming to get me pricing for the court at Lookout Park. They're just to keep the balls in the court. You know, I want the balls to run away forever. And same thing with an irrigation system at Lookout Park. If we're going to have that a nice neighborhood park, we need to have nice grass. I do have 5 AEDs on the list, but I have since worked with Mike from Emergency Services, and he says that we as the county have some that we don't use currently. We actually have a little bit of a stockpile. I may have to buy some brackets to post them, and I may have to buy some batteries, but otherwise he said he could get me 7 of them. I would put them in each of the parks that don't have them, and then also have one for my truck, and then maybe one for special events if I'm not there. So that's kind of our plan, so that one I think we can take care of fairly inexpensively. And then we have budgeted for this year, the last 2 things I have in there, I have budgeted for this year a new truck and a new mower. So that's something I intend on getting prices and coming to a meeting soon with. And it might take a minute to get them here, but those are things that I worked with Christy before, and kind of we figured out a 5-year plan on improving our equipment, so they're both in the budget this year. I think that's all I got.
On those picnic tables, Jeremy, did you get a chance to look or do any pricing on any of those culverts with the table inside them? I thought those were awful neat for some of these parks that don't have shelter.
Yep, those are right around $10,000 a piece, and I do too. I think they're pretty neat. We are going to want to increase putting in new shelters in our parks, and I am, Makoti makes them. They're excited about doing more of them. I can definitely have pricing and see if we get a break if we buy, some in bulk, or, what we want to do. But
If we're getting picnic tables already, and there's some that don't have it, I saw one at one of the trade shows, and I just thought they were really cool. And rather than spend the $1,200, maybe we can put that towards something like
These
that.
tables that you're looking at buying are actually for the camping sites, so right?
8 of them are for the camping sites at Little Egypt.
So that would be, I mean, I agree with you too. I've seen them too, and I like them, but I don't think we would want these set up at a camping site.
Well, no, but there's 4 that weren't. Those are the ones I was thinking of, but yeah, you're right. We wouldn't want them at a campsite.
Nope, I'm fine with just getting those 8 and then moving forward with looking at those, because I like those too. I think those are neat. I think they would be a neat attraction that everyone would stop and see. I like the idea of how they're painted. I think there's some interesting ways we could get them painted, which hopefully wouldn't be real expensive, but also really kind of neat. So I would definitely be interested in moving forward, trying to make those happen.
Did I read somewhere, Jeremy, that the 4 extras you were going for backup, just in case something happens?
Or just to fill in. There have been some places like some of the shelter, those like seashell shelters we have now, the ones that we commonly have. There are a couple of those that used to have 2 picnic tables, and we've taken one out of there just to use in campsites because not all of them had concrete tables. Some of them had some wooden tables that were broken, and so we kind of used some there. So it was more just an idea to stay ahead and not, because I have had 2 breaks since I've been here. One of them we were able to fix, one of them we're not. People ran into them. They just ran into them with something and then took off. I'm sure it caused more damage to their car than it did to their vehicle. But that was the idea with those.
So all of these projects, just questioning that you have listed here, is this something that could all be done this summer?
Yeah, that's my goal, everything there to get done this summer.
Okay, because if my, I don't know where you're from, but if my North Dakota math is correct, I have come up with about $110,000 for total for all of this. And I think it's a great idea, every one of them, so I guess move this along. I'm going to make a motion to have Corey pursue, or Corey, I'm sorry.
I can do it too.
You want to do that?
Well,
Corey's
No,
got
you
the
said
background
I think we
too.
both came from the same spots.
You said you were looking for a summer job.
I'm good. Let's leave it with Jeremy.
Okay. I make a motion that Jeremy pursues these projects to not to exceed what's listed to $110,000, and come back with pricing for the other stuff.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion about these items? Okay, roll call vote.
Barry,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Shanda,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Applications will be available on March 1st. Applicants must have the application in prior to April 15th, and then we'll do a drawing on the April Park Board meeting. We'll keep the cost the same as last year. So the only difference from last year is last year we offered 10 sites, and then we only had 5 people apply. I kind of like that number 5. I worry that 10 might take up a lot of spots. So I'd like to maybe just keep it at that number 5, otherwise do everything else we did exactly the same as last year.
I missed that. What was that concerning?
That's for seasonal sites at Blacktail. Last year we had last year we had five people that had their campers out there all summer long. I think our dates were May 15th to September 15th. So they were able to be there for the whole length of the summer. We had 5 of them. It went really well. From my point of view, it was nice because there were people that were there all the time and had my phone number. And you know, they weren't there every day, but between them and my staff, it gave me more eyes and more people that seemed to care about what's going on at the campground. So I really liked it.
Perfect.
And then so just the other thing that I have on the discussion item is our online reservation. Just giving you an update. We've gotten our website, the banking procedures, my sites, government windows, all working together properly. I reserved this, or I paid for a site online, and it all seemed to work. Right now, I'm working on, you know, we do have the ability where we can reserve in advance, and then we can also set some sites that you can't check in till that day. That's just it. I mean, you can't reserve it, you can't pay for it till that day, and then you can stay for the length of your stay. So we've been working all those quirks out. I'm sure there's still some more that are, but this last couple of months, Lindsay really pushed hard to get us to where we are right now because she knew she was going to be gone for a little bit. But I'm really excited about where it's at. Still, like I said, still playing around a little bit, but our idea is that because this is the first year and we're not really ready to go 90 days out, we will take our 2 different types of sites, the day of versus the one you can reserve in advance. The one that we can reserve in advance, we just like to make up everything in the park system open on May 15th. So May 15th, if you want to reserve for the rest of the summer, for the rest of this year, you could get online and start reserving and picking your days. And then, like I said, it will be before that May 15th date that I'll come back to you with my plan and for your approval for how many sites and which sites at each park are available ahead of time and how many are day of. I think that's all I got for discussion items. If you guys got nothing on any of those topics, we can kind of give the mic over to Candace. Candace, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. I can't see you, but I can hear you, so I'll just go with that for now. What I want to do today is just talk a little bit about priorities in terms of what the county board is thinking. So Jeremy and I are working on getting the draft report document put together. As part of that, we create the implementation plan with general priorities so that as you are making improvements, you kind of have a little bit of a guideline to follow. Know that whatever we put in there is not set in stone, so those priorities you can change over time. Things can be readjusted, but it's just a good starting point to kind of help guide you as you're making investments, because obviously the overall numbers, don't match up very well for what's available. So we have to kind of determine what are some of those expectations you as a board are looking for so that we can see what we can fit in there for projects, improvements that fit within the budget that you're anticipating. So with that, if you each wanted to just kind of give me basically your top maybe like 3 or 4 choices that you think would really make some, really good improvements for the communities who use these park sites, I would love to hear what those are. And, so just for instance, so if your top 3, you're like, okay, I think it's important that we get that bypass road in at Blacktail Dam, or moving the boat launch over at one of the sites, those types of elements. That's kind of what I'm looking to hear about today, just so that we're in alignment with your goals for these parks. So who would like to volunteer first?
Well, I'm usually the bashful one, Candace, so I'll go ahead and talk.
Okay.
I kind of have 4 or 5 that I was looking at. I think that the bypass road with the dump station at Blacktail is a high priority. The new entrance road and the dump station at Epping Springbrook, I also think would help that out, along with those pull-through campsites and Little Egypt, making all those existing campsites pull through also. Were kind of the ones that jumped out at me. And the other thing, the planning and design stuff with the future park feasibility is probably something that we need to take a look at also.
Okay.
As a part of I just have a general question, and I think I asked it last time, but can Dennis do some of that construction and save us money? I'm asking those as 2 independent questions, I guess, but.
If he has people that can run that equipment, we have the equipment. How's that? Is that a good answer? You still got to have the right guy to run the scraper and do those types of things. But if he has those guys, the equipment's there. I know you were. Oh, the other one that I forgot to mention, Candace, I think a picnic shelter and the concrete walks out at Lookout Park would be a nice addition too, because I think that's kind of a neat little park.
What was that one?
Both of them on Lookout Park, the concrete walks and the picnic shelter.
Yep. Okay.
Corey, since you said that you're not bashful,
I said I was bashful.
or you were bashful, I'm going to say that I'm going to be bold with my comments. And I'm going to throw this out here for discussion, because in my life, when I've seen entities do a master plan, it seems like they get put on a shelf and forgot about and never get completed until 10 years later they say, well, we had a master plan, let's take a look at it, and then of course they redo it. And I guess it's my belief personally that if you're going to do a master plan, you better figure out a way to make it to the finish line. So having said that, Candace, your numbers that you presented to us, if there again, Jeremy, I'll use my North Dakota math. Your estimates came to somewhere between $22 and $27 million. I would make a suggestion that I think that, Candace, if you could put together some sort of a schedule for us on when this all could be completed, and that this board requests to the county commission and to the finance committee a way that we can come up with a plan, that we can put this whole master plan together and get it completed. My opinion would be if we can get this all completed within 2 to 3 years, and look at committing, asking the county to look at committing some of their gross production dollars to pay for this, because I think it's very important for the public that use our parks, that we have a decent, beautiful, nice system for them to use. Just my opinion.
You weren't kidding. You are bold. I love that idea. I seriously, I think that's wonderful. If we could get a time frame on it, boy, I think David hit it right on the head. You're right. I see too many of these that are sitting on a shelf, and
Well, I think the other thing, Candace, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and those of you in the construction business, but in this, and if going that route, I think if we ended up taking bids on the whole picture, with a completion of, say, 2 years or less, or 3 years or less, and we have one contractor that oversees, I would tend to believe we're gonna save some dollars by doing that.
I agree.
There are some savings rather than phasing things in because you are reducing the amount of mobility and bonding costs associated with each time that you create a new project for it to go out on. Again, we'd probably want to look at some sort of situation where we're not taking a whole entire park out, you know, during the prime season for camping or anything like that, but sort of staging it in a way that we can kind of work around that prime season and get some of those things accomplished.
Well, and I don't think it would be so bad, Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we had to close down 1 or 2 parks, maybe starting September 1, that gives them, you know, 2.5 months of construction season too. Shut her down after Labor Day, or if we have to, before Labor Day. So I'm just, you know, throwing that out there, I guess.
Well, any time you got construction, I mean, it's all, you know, road construct, I mean, it's a real pain when it's going on, but it's, the only way you can get it done is just doing it, you know?
I said it's like building a house or a shop or anything else, or remodeling. You know, we all know it's a pain in the butt and a mess, but by golly, when it's done, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, and I agree, but I like that idea, David's, but and if we were to do this, we need more spaces in the park system, period. So if I could, I would say I would make Little Egypt number 1, because that'll add new spaces that we don't currently have, and then we can go back to fixing up and beautifying the existing ones.
Well, I guess in my mind, Barry, to me, for some of this, in looking at it, I don't see any reason why at least 2 of these parks couldn't be worked on at the same time in a calendar year. Especially if you're talking, you know, for instance, logistics-wise, you got, like you said, Little Egypt, and then you got Dakota Ray, what, 5-6 miles away? Why can't those 2 be worked together? Why can't Blacktail and McGregor, you know, just things like that, I guess I'm throwing out there.
Right, but I mean, that would be up to the whoever was doing the work, the contractor, if they have the equipment or the ability or manpower to pull that off. But yeah, it'd be great.
Of this size, in my mind, we would want obviously a highly qualified contractor that's got the equipment and the manpower to do it. We can require that, I guess, in my opinion, in the bidding process.
Yep, I'm going to agree too. I think that to do this master plan and look at all the great ideas, it's kind of like, what's the point of doing it if we're not going to move forward with a bunch of, or all of the projects? So I know, like you said, it'd be great for the public to be able to enjoy these outdoor areas more fruitfully than they do now. So I'm in agreement of moving forward with the whole project.
Well, I guess you're gonna walk the walk, let's talk the talk. And I think now's the time to do it because things are good. And, you know, but anyway. And I guess, Madam Chairman, if you want a motion, I will certainly entertain or proceed with the motion.
Somebody get behind Jeremy and catch him, because he may go down when this motion hits.
I ain't done yet. I'm gonna make a motion that we request to the Finance Committee and the Williams County Board of Commissioners to come up with a plan to proceed with this project, and that we ask Candace and her staff to help us put together some sort of a game plan that we could accomplish doing all of these projects within a 2 to 3 year time span at the most, and we'll leave it up to the Finance Committee and the county commissioners to give us an option on how we can make this thing work as far financially.
Okay, so there's a motion to bring this project to the Williams County Commission and the Finance Committee. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion on this?
I think it's really exciting. I really appreciate the support you guys have in me and the belief, because that's a big deal. I really appreciate that. But how exciting. I am all about like making sure we provide great places for our community. And this is just such if you know, as this goes through, will be a huge thing for not just for our whole region, not just our county. So I'm very excited. Thank you for the support.
No further discussion at this time. Roll call vote?
Brad,
Yay.
Steve,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Shanda,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
So, if I may say something more, Madam Chairman, just Candace, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I don't know if you probably had any intentions that this was going to happen, but your work's cut out for you now, too.
Yes, it is. Yeah, but we'll definitely help you out. Like I said, it's been a great process so far, and it's very exciting to see, you know, how this kind of take fruition. Especially, you know, so I'm from the area, and it's just been a blast working on these projects. So I'll do whatever I can to help you come up with a great plan for actually getting this implemented.
Candace, just quick, what kind of time frame do you think you're gonna need to put something together on how it'll fall out?
Well, right now I'm working on the actual report document, and I was hoping to get that draft to you prior to the March meeting, or a little after, maybe April meeting. But as part of that, we can be working concurrently on figuring out that implementation schedule along with it. It'll be kind of a high-level one, but some things to take into consideration are some unknowns at the moment. So there's things that need to go through certain processes, especially for Little Egypt, to get approval prior to doing anything for like cultural studies and those things. So getting those started immediately would be something that I think Jeremy's already started on, but I think we need to take a more robust approach on that. And then just making sure before anything is done at McGregor Dam that we have clear direction on the actual dam itself, because you don't want to put in a lot of money or investment at that site if the dam itself is unknown if they're going to be rebuilding that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you.
The color just came back in Jeremy's face.
Okay, moving on to parks updates.
Just real quick, I have a couple things. Just keeping the parks clean, make sure the bathrooms are clean, doing some little projects. Just in general, the parks, just keeping the parks clean, making sure bathrooms are clean. Been doing picnic tables, little things like that. A couple things we have some issues with the flagpole at Blacktail. Got to get a lift or something to get us up, raise us up higher to fix it up there. Waiting for it to not be windy and a nice day to do that. Where's my Blacktail? We're hosting a community rummage sale at Blacktail, or a swap meet. Working with the community, they're gonna have a rummage sale June 11th, and at the same time, we're gonna kind of promote a swap meet idea of come out and bring your camper, your boat, try to sell it, that kind of thing. Epping Springbrook Dam, continue to work with a group of VFW who are maintaining our beach for us. They are hauling in sand, doing work on that. And then also, there's been a great perch bite there. I don't know if you've heard, but most I saw one time we had 20 fish houses out at Epping Springbrook. I believe I have I don't have it through official HR channels filled, but I have a police officer who is interested in being our camp host at Epping Springbrook this summer. We had a police officer last year as well. It went really well. It's someone different this year. And then Coteray, we have the same people we have as camp hosts last year. Little Egypt, I'm looking for a camp host. We do, as Candace mentioned, we have the annual management plan is with the Corps is due March 31st. So we got kind of to start pushing with what kind of changes we would want to make this year there, but also to start planting that seed for the reconstruction we're looking at doing. McGregor, I'm looking for a camp host. And then Lookout Park, I've already got the surfacing ordered to finish up that court. As soon as the weather allows, we'll get that put in. I think that's it for parks updates, unless you have a certain question about a certain park.
Is that picture there, Jeremy, is that the actual sign, or is that just a picture sign?
Nope, those are the actual signs. All those pictures that we use in the background there are from the last month at our parks. The one like I said, the one at Epping shows a bunch of fish houses in the background. There was one at Little Egypt showing, I think I counted 30-some houses out from where that ice landing we put in. But yep, these signs we put up, those are the signs that we put in this last year that we purchased with that tourism money.
Yeah, they look nice. I haven't been out there to see it, but it looks nice from the picture.
Yeah, they turned out really well. Quite honestly, they're a little bit smaller than I thought, but they look really nice. And we're gonna keep working on doing some landscaping work around them, but they look nice. They were a nice improvement.
How many feet, Jeremy, at Blacktail is that flagpole?
It's got to be, what, 20 to 25, I guess? It's not huge. Yeah, it's got to be 20 to 25 feet. I'd say somewhere in that range. I have mentioned to Mark Barstead. I've mentioned to him, he's going to get a hold of me this week and see if he has any equipment out there that might be able to lift us up, and if the wind dies down enough for us to do it.
Next week I'll be up there. If he doesn't put it together with you, let me know. We've got bucket trucks that will get you.
Perfect. I'll get a hold of you, Brad.
Any more business?
March meeting.
I guess I just wonder what the wishes of the board are. In March, I have a playground safety course in Bismarck. I've been certified playground safety inspector for about 15 years. And because of COVID, I missed it. And I'm actually, for the last year, I haven't been certified. Certification I intend on keeping. It's a good one. But it does take place over when our normally scheduled meeting would be. So I'm not sure how the board wants to proceed, if you want to have a meeting, if you want an update, want to reschedule, or if we want to just move on till April, or just wait and see and have me get a hold of everyone March 1st. And
In your defense, Jeremy, I'll just say that, and not that it matters, but I won't be here either, so.
Well, it'll be too quiet of a meeting if you're both gone. I truly, I
You
mean, I
say you're
think
gone, then we better not have.
you and Candace, there's a lot of work to do, and she was talking April anyway. I don't see any reason to not. I mean, I'd be all for, we can skip March and give you time to get your stuff done.
okay, unless something, like I said, unless something major comes up that I feel like we need to meet, we'll just plan on meeting again in April.
Or you can send out an email update on any information, sure.
Yeah, I can make sure I send out a good email like about this same time next month if we choose not to have a meeting.
Just keeps us abreast of what's going on.
We'll have to have a,
Yeah, we won't cancel it yet, but we'll just keep it as an option, because then that's what Lindsay and Karen have informed me, that's the best way to do it. So, but we'll kind of keep in mind that possibility that we just might meet again in April.
Okay, so next meeting, April and potentially still March, depending upon, I know that is the week of spring break for Williston Public Schools also. No further business?
Just one quick comment. I think, Candace, you have that, the legal funding for turning Blacktail into a city included in this master plan, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Way to go, Steve,
Yep, Mayor Brad Hinchin, the honorable.
We should, yeah, sit down sometime.
Okay, if that's all, then we are adjourned.